He accidentally swallowed the plastic fork while goofing around. Now, he assumed it would just pass naturally, and he moved on with his life. But 10 years later, severe stomach pain and vomiting blood sent him to the hospital. Doctors were shocked to find the 9-inch fork lodged in his stomach. The prongs had pressed into the lining, causing a bleeding ulcer. A 45-minute surgery was needed to remove the fork safely.
So, when you swallow food, it's supposed to go down your esophagus, which is the tube that goes to your tummy. But there's another tube called the trachea, which leads to your lungs, and the trachea sits right next to the esophagus. Don't confuse them. Usually when you swallow, the soft parts of your throat cover the trachea, so food doesn't go down into it. But if you eat too quickly, those soft parts might not work properly, and food can accidentally go down your trachea instead, and that's how you choke on food. So hey, take your time.
If you accidentally swallow a tooth, it travels down your esophagus and into your stomach. Then, powerful acids and enzymes start breaking down the softer parts of the tooth, like the pulp. However, the enamel is more resistant and might not fully break down. Next, the partially digested tooth moves into the small intestine, where it continues to be broken down by bile and digestive enzymes. Finally, any remaining fragments are passed through your digestive tract and excreted with waste. When you bite your nails, you create tiny tears in the skin around it. Then the bacteria from your mouth can actually get into these tears, making the area around your nails red and tender. These small injuries can lead to painful infections and swelling. Not to mention, biting them makes your nails look jagged and uneven. So do yourself a favor and just use nail clippers. If you step on an old dirty nail, the sharp metal punctures your skin and can insert a type of bacteria into your body. Once inside, the bacteria releases a toxin. Eventually, the area around the wound will begin to stiffen, and if left untreated, this toxin will cause severe muscle contractions. If it reaches your face, it can cause your jaw muscles to contract uncontrollably, making it almost impossible to open your mouth. To prevent the spread, get the proper injections within 48 hours, which could neutralize the toxin. If you took out one of your bones and somehow molded it into a chunk about this big, you might think it would be completely crushed under the weight of a car. But human bones are actually made of a tough mix of minerals and a stretchy protein called collagen. And this makes them so strong that a single cubic inch can support the weight of nearly 5 standard cars. Your skull has these tiny cracks all over that run along the surface. When you're in the wound, they form in between the skull's separate plates. They're filled with a stretchy tissue that holds the bone together but still lets them move a little. This allows for flexibility during birth and room for your brain to grow. As you get older, the cracks slowly harden and eventually fuse the bones together. If you're really short, a doctor can make a small incision into your thigh and carefully break your femur in half. Then the ends of the broken bone are gradually and slowly separated, at which point a rod is inserted to hold the bones in position. This stimulates the body to grow new bone in the gap, inching you up over time. Soft tissues like muscles and nerves also grow to accommodate the increased length. Once everything everything has hardened and strengthened, you'll be a taller version of your old self. A surgeon creates a small opening on your abdomen by bringing a part of the colon through the abdominal wall, known as a stoma. Then, it's secured to the surrounding skin on the stomach. After surgery, a plastic seal is placed over the open end, connecting it to a bag. As your digestive system processes food, waste passes through the intestines and exits into the bag. Your heart generates enough force to squirt blood 30 feet across a room. This powerful organ beats about 100,000 times every day and pushes about 1.5 gallons of blood through your body each minute. In a year, that's over 670,000 gallons, enough to top off an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And this means that over an average lifetime, your heart will pump around 58 million gallons of blood, which is enough to fill the Statue of Liberty 10 times. A surgeon will remove a healthy vein from your leg if you have a blocked artery. Then they will open up your chest and stitch one end of the healthy vein to the clogged artery right above the blockage, and the other end is stitched right below it, creating a bypass around the blocked part of the artery. The blood is redirected through the transplanted vein, which restores your blood flow. The doctor makes a horizontal incision through the skin and underlying tissues of the abdomen during a C-section. Next, another incision is made in the uterus, exposing the sac where the baby is protected. The doctor gently lifts the baby out of the uterus, cutting the umbilical cord once the baby is fully out. Afterward, the placenta is removed, and the uterine incision is stitched back together. Finally, the abdominal layers are closed with staples, ensuring the body can begin healing.
The only thing I would disagree with is the uterus is stitched closed, but everything else is stitched closed too. The muscles of the abdominal wall, the subcutaneous tissue.
After eating the fish, her lips, fingers, and feet turned black, and she was rushed to the hospital. Doctors discovered she'd contracted a rare flesh-eating bacteria. As the infection spread, her kidneys failed, and her doctors put her into a coma. But she kept getting worse. Finally, the only way to save her was to amputate all 4 of her limbs. A woman suddenly lost consciousness while a fake doctor was performing an illegal laser treatment on her. And instead of taking her to the hospital, he shoved her body into a suitcase. He left this suitcase in his garage for weeks while her family and police searched for her. To hide the evidence, he buried her body in the garage and poured concrete over it. The remains were discovered nearly a year later, and the man was sent to prison.